program, you're going to be using type and text quite a bit. Over here on your Tools panel, basically, let's say this is my document here. I have 3 columns, and what I want to do is I want to create a box here and put some type in it. You'll notice right here there are a bunch of different options based on the individual selected tool. If I click on the Type tool, you will notice that the options change up here. And let's go to our rectangular frame tool right here, about halfway down your Tools panel. I'm just going to click on it. You notice that the options changed up here. And I'm just going to say, you know what, I want a column of text right here. So this frame just has this big X in it. That X just means it's an empty frame. There's nothing really in there. And I want to put some text in there. So there's 2 ways to actually make a text box. One is to create a frame like this. Select your Type tool and you click inside it. Once you click inside it, you're going to notice this X disappears and I have a blinking cursor. Now I can put text in here. Obviously, you have to remember that if I wanted to use the keyboard shortcut for the hand tool to move, if I push the space bar, it's not going to work. It's just going to put a space in there. So when you're using the Type tool, some of your keyboard shortcuts are not going to work unless you do different commands. Now, if I hold down the Option key, it'll give me the hand tool temporarily and I can move it. But usually, the temporary hand tool is the space bar, but it's not going to work if I'm typing text. Double click on the hand tool to center everything, go back to my text tool because I want to continue to work with text. Okay, I can click and highlight. Another way is to click on your Type tool and just click and drag your frame right here. Now that'll automatically make a frame that is a text frame. Now I can put text in here. So those are 2 ways to basically make a text frame. So once I do that, if I grab my Type tool, I can click and highlight, or I can double click to select the whole line. And up here you'll notice you have all these different options. On the far left, you're going to notice that there are actually 2 different panels within this one. One is called the character formatting controls, and one's called the paragraph formatting controls. Right now, because we have the character, it has all the controls based on the individual characters, and if I select the paragraph, we have everything based on the paragraph. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to fill this box with type. I'm just going to throw in what's called some placeholder text, which is just a bunch of jargon that doesn't really mean anything, but I'm just going to fill it up with some blank type. If I select on some certain type, obviously I can go in here to edit, select all, which is going to select all my type, or I can just select a little bit of it. In fact, let's select it all, edit, select all. Let's say I wanted this centered in this frame. I can click on, here's my different align controls. Now it's centered. Maybe I want it to be aligned to the right. Let's keep it aligned left for now. But right now, let's click on the character formatting controls. And you'll notice right here I have my font, I have my point size, I have it whether it's regular, bold, and all my different options that I'm necessarily going to need. So I'm just going to select a handful of the text, not all of it. And we're going to go ahead and change this to one of my favorite fonts is Comic Sans. And then I'm going to hit enter, and you'll notice just the type that I selected has changed. And I can change the point size, and I can manage all of these fields one of 2 ways. I can click and drag and type in something, or I can click this drop down arrow, which gives me everything that I need, all the different types of fonts. Let's say I wanted Helvetica. If I start typing Helvetica with this list open from this drop down menu, I just type in H-E, okay, switch it to Helvetica. I can choose regular, etc., etc. And just the selected type is going to be affected. Let's make this a little bit bigger here so that we can see it. Now notice when I made this text really, really big, now we have this little red plus right here. Now what that basically means, I'm going to go ahead and grab my magnifying glass and I'm going to click and drag and zoom in here really close so that you can see it. What that basically means is now there is overset text, which means it's going beyond the box. The box is just basically not large enough to hold the type because I made it so big. And double click my hand tool to make it a regular size. If we grab some of this right here, change it down to 15, now it's going to fit that little red plus is gone, meaning all the text is within there. My selection tool is used to select whole objects and move them around. My direct selection tool is for selecting individual parts of an object. Let's say I wanted to grab this corner and just select this corner alone and move that corner. So if I move it up, clearly I'm going to reduce the shape of this box. And of course we don't have enough room, so it's going out of the box again. But if I grab this guy and move it out, so now it's really, really big, I can set up a text box to a certain shape if I want, and it will all fit within that box. So if I grab this set of text right here, and let's say I want this text to be a different color. So we have our individual panels over here, and of course I got rid of my panel names with my custom workspace because I don't need it, but I'm going to drag it out so that you can see it. We have over here our swatches. Swatches are basically a bunch of pre-saved colors. So we have a shape here. In fact, let's click this into the double column so that you can see the fill and stroke really well. At the bottom of your tools, you have a fill and a stroke control. Now, every single container or box, if you will, that you create has a stroke on the outside and is filled with a certain color. This red slash right here means that it's not filled with a color. It doesn't mean that this box is white with a black stroke. It means it's transparent. There's nothing in there. Now, if I click on my stroke, it's going to come into the foreground, meaning that I can control that. And right below it, you'll see this little red slash, apply none. If I click on there, as you can see right here, I have a box. This box is a frame that has a stroke of none and a fill of none. If I click on my fill and bring it in the foreground, I can fill this box with whatever color I want. For example, I can go over to my panels here. I'm going to stretch it down so I can see all my colors. And I'm going to select this blue color, and it fills it with blue. If I select this and select my stroke to bring it in the foreground, I can say, you know what, I want a yellow stroke. So now I'm going to deselect this box, and I don't know if you can see it, but I'm going to zoom in here really close. I now have a blue box with a yellow stroke. So basically, this determines what your box is going to look like. Right now, you see a black stroke and a fill of none because I don't have anything selected. But if I select this box, I now have a stroke of yellow and a fill of blue. I'm going to double click my hand tool so that everything is centered. Text works a lot the same way. Let's say I select this text right here. Now you'll notice now I have a little T in the fill, which means it's dealing with text. Now when I come over to my swatches, you're going to notice I also have a fill and a stroke right here in the panel. I'll grab my selection tool. If I select this box again, you will notice that once again I have my stroke of yellow and my fill of blue. And you'll also notice over here that I have formatting controls and I have a little T. I can't select the T because the T is only for text. This is a shape, this is a text. Or in other words, it's what's called a container. So if I select some of my text, I want my text to be red. Now you can see right now that I have the text. I can click on it, but I can't click on the box. But keep in mind that this is my text. So if I want it to be red, I click on the red. Of course, I have to deselect so that you can see it. I'm going to zoom in here really close where you can see it. So now I have red text. But if I were to select this red text again, and this time over here in the swatches panel, I click on this stroke to bring it in the foreground, which it does over here as well. So I choose this blue as we are going to deselect, and you'll notice that I now have a red text with a blue stroke. I have a red fill with a blue stroke. But as you can see right here, I can't grab my container because my container is basically for shapes, and I'm dealing with the text. So this is how you would change the color of individual text. Also, when you select this, if you go up to your character formatting controls and your paragraph formatting controls, you're going to notice you also have your left indent. If I go to my character, I can adjust the kerning and the tracking. So all of your individual character and paragraph controls are in here. Let's say I want to go with a bold of some sort, okay, and I'm just dealing with these ones right here. In fact, these ones right here I can change to a different color as well. I don't want to change the stroke, I want to change the fill, which you can see over here as well. I want to change it to yellow. Ouch, it's going to hurt my eyes, but for illustration purposes, actually that doesn't look too bad. Okay, so if I double click here, it's going to select a word. If I triple click, it'll select the sentence. And I go in, notice right here, I triple clicked and select the whole sentence. I don't have a font right here. It's because it has multiple fonts in here, so it doesn't know exactly what to tell me. So if I wanted to change it all to Helvetica, and enter, now it changes it all to Helvetica. Okay, but before it was saying I can't find anything because I've got multiples here. Just like here, this is in a bold and this is not, so it's saying I don't know what it is. Okay, so you can deal with your tracking, your space between letters, that kind of thing. And at any time, if I double click my hand tool so I can see everything, you use your selection tool to grab a certain box and move it around to wherever you'd like. It selects the entire object as opposed to my direct selection tool where I can grab what's called control points, which we will talk about later, and I can adjust the parts of an object. Now I'm going to get my overset text because this box is too small, saying, hey, I can't fit everything in there. So that's basically how you add type, create a type box, change the font, the color, spacing, and move different elements around on a page.